Hey boys and girls, happy Friday. If you remember yesterday, Pippi had her first day of school. And we stopped when her teacher was trying to teach her math. So let's see what she's going to learn next. The teacher decided to give up arithmetic altogether. She thought maybe Pippi would prefer to learn to read. So she took out a pretty little card with a picture of an ibex on it. In front of the ibex's nose was the letter I. Now, Pippi, she said briskly, you'll see something jolly. You see here an ibex, and the letter in front of ibex is called I. That I'll never believe, said Pippi. I think it looks exactly like a straight line with a little fly speck over it. But what I'd really like to know is, what has an ibex to do with a fly speck? The teacher took out another card with a picture of a snake on it and told Pippi that the letter on that was an S. Well, speaking of snakes, said Pippi, I'll never ever forget the time that I had a fight with a huge snake in India. You can't imagine what a dreadful snake it was. 14 yards long and as mad as a hornet. And every day he ate up 5 Indians and 2 little children for dessert. And one time he came and he wanted me for dessert. And he wound himself around me and ugh! But I've been around a bit, I said. And I hit him in the head. Bang! And then he hissed. And then I hit him again and bingo, he was dead. And indeed, so that is the letter S. Most remarkable. Pippi had stopped to get her breath. And the teacher, who had now begun to think that Pippi was an unruly and troublesome child, decided that the class should have drawing for a while. Surely Pippi could sit still and be quiet and draw, thought the teacher. She took out pen and paper and pencils and passed them out to the children. Now you may draw whatever you wish, she said, and sat down at her desk and began to correct homework. In a little while she looked up to see how the drawing was going. All the children sat looking at Pippi, who lay flat on the floor, drawing to her heart's content. But Pippi, said the teacher impatiently, why in the world aren't you drawing on your paper? Well, I filled that up long ago. There isn't room enough for my whole horse on that little snip of a paper, said Pippi. Just now I'm working on his front legs, but when I get to his tail, I guess I'll have to go out in the hall. I have to show y'all this picture. She had to make room for that big horse.
Oh, my goodness.
The teacher thought for a while. Suppose instead we all sing a little song, she suggested. All the pupils stood up in their seats except Pippi. She stayed where she was on the floor. You go ahead and sing, she said. I'll rest myself for a while. Too much learning breaks even the healthiest. But now the teacher's patience had come to an end. She told all the children to go out into the yard so she could talk to Pippi alone. When the teacher and Pippi were alone, Pippi got up and walked to the desk. Do you know what, she said. It was awfully jolly to come to school to find out what it was like. But I don't think I care to go to school anymore. Christmas vacation or no Christmas vacation. There's altogether too many apples and ibexes and snakes and things like that. It makes me dizzy in the head. I hope that you, teacher, won't be sorry. But the teacher said she certainly wasn't sorry, most of all because Pippi wouldn't behave decently, and that any girl who acted as badly as Pippi would not be allowed to go to school even if she wanted to. Have I behaved badly? Asked Pippi, much astonished. Goodness, I didn't know that, she added, and looked very sad. And nobody could look as sad as Pippi when she was sad. She stood silent for a while, and then she said in a trembling voice, You understand, teacher, don't you, that when you have a mother who's an angel and a father who's a cannibal king, and when you've sailed on the ocean your whole life, that you just don't know how to behave in school with all the apples and the ibexes? The teacher said she understood and didn't feel annoyed with Pippi any longer. And maybe Pippi could come back to school when she was a little older. Pippi positively beamed with delight. "I think you're awfully nice, teacher. And here is something for you." Out of her pocket, Pippi took a lovely little gold watch and laid it on the desk. The teacher said she couldn't possibly accept such a valuable gift from Pippi, but Pippi replied, "You've got to take it. Otherwise, I'll come back again tomorrow." And that would be a pretty how do you do. Then Pippi rushed out of the schoolyard and jumped on her horse. All the children gathered around to pat the horse and see her off. "You ought to know about the schools in Argentina," said Pippi, looking down at the children. "That's where you should go. Easter vacation begins 3 days after Christmas vacation ends. And when Easter vacation is over, there are 3 days, and then it's summer vacation. Summer vacation ends the 1st of November, and then you have a tough time till Christmas vacation begins on November 11th. But you can stand it because there aren't any lessons. It's strictly against the law to have lessons in Argentina. Once in a while, it happens that some Argentine kid sneaks into a closet and sits there studying a lesson. But it's too bad for him if his mother finds him. Arithmetic, they don't have at all in the schools. And if there's any kid who knows what 7 and 5 are, he has to stand in the corner all day. That is, if he's foolish enough to let the teacher know that he knows. They have reading on Friday, and then only if they have some books, which they never have. "But what do they do in school?" asked one little boy. "Eat caramels," said Pippi decidedly. "There's a long pipe." Sorry. "There's a long pipe that goes from a caramel factory nearby directly into the schoolroom, and caramels keep shooting out of it all day long. So the children have all they can do to eat them up." Oh, tummy ache coming. "Yes, but what does the teacher do?" asked one little girl. "Takes the paper off the caramels for the children, of course," said Pippi.
She don't have nothing better to do.
"No, you didn't suppose they'd do it for themselves, did you?" "Hardly. They don't even go to school themselves. They send their brothers," Pippi said. "Oh, so long, kid," she cried gaily. "Now you won't see me for a while. But always remember how many apples Axel has, or you'll be sorry." Oh. With a ringing laugh, Pippi rode out through the gate so wildly that the pebbles whirled around the horse's hooves and the window panes rattled in the schoolhouse. Outside Villa Kula sat Pippi, Tommy, and Annika. Pippi sat on one gatepost, Annika on the other, and Tommy sat on the gate. It was a warm and beautiful day toward the end of August. A pear tree that grew close to the fence stretched its branches so low that the children could sit and pick the little red gold pears without any trouble at all. They munched and ate and spit pear cores across the road. Villa Kula stood just at the edge of the little town, where the street turned into a country road. The people in the little town loved to go out walking out Villa Kula way, for the country out there was beautiful. As the children were sitting there eating pears, a girl came walking along the road from town. When she saw the children, she stopped and asked, "Have you seen my papa go by?" Said Pippi. "Did he have blue eyes?" "Yes," said the girl. "Medium hair, not too tall, not too short?" "Yes," said the girl. "Black hat and black shoes?" "Yes, exactly," said the girl. "Nope, that one we haven't seen," said Pippi. The girl looked crestfallen and went off without a word. "Wait a minute," shrieked Pippi after her. "Was he bald-headed?" "No, he certainly was not," said the girl crossly. "Lucky for him," Pippi said, and spat out a pear core. The girl hurried away, but then Pippi shouted, "Did he have big ears and reach down to pick blackberries?" "No," said the girl, and turned and came running back in amazement. You don't mean to say that you've seen a man walk by with such big ears? I've never seen anyone walk by with his ears, said Pippi. All the people I know walk with their feet. Oh, don't be silly. I mean, have you really seen a man who has such big ears? No, said Pippi. There isn't anybody with such big ears. It would be ridiculous. How would they look? It isn't possible to have such big ears, at least not in this country. Uh-oh. Of course, in China, it's a little different. I once saw a Chinese in Shanghai. His ears were so big he could use them for a cape. When it rained, he just crawled under them. It was as warm and snug as you please. I think Miss Amanda and I really like this book. It was as if it was very bad weather, he used to invite his friends to camp under his ears. I don't think I can read it.
We're gonna have to.
Boys and girls, we're going to have to continue next week. I can't go anymore. Have a great weekend.